Hey everyone, welcome to the very first session of Countdown to Better Scoring 15-minute fixes to help you upgrade your scoring strategy before the August 31st sunset of the old lead scoring properties in HubSpot. Each Monday, I'm going to go live with a quick focus session designed to help you get the most out of HubSpot's new scoring features without spending hours in documentation. Today's session, what's the deal with HubSpot's new engagement score? We'll be covering the new engagement score portion of the new scoring tools. If you've ever looked at a high lead score and thought, why is this person scored so highly when they've ghosted us for weeks? This session is for you. I'm Casey, and I'll walk you through what the engagement score actually measures, how it's different from the old scoring setup, and why it's critical for sales personalization, and most importantly, how to start using it today. Let's start with the basics. The engagement score is one of the scoring types in HubSpot's new scoring tool. It's moves alongside of the fit score and combined scores. So if you're in the new scoring tool, I'm showing in the marketing tool right now, which is under marketing and lead scoring, you can go and create a score, and it's going to ask you first whether you want to score contacts and companies. But then it's going to ask you, do you want to score engagement, fit, or combined? And this, especially if you're used to the old tools, might be a confusing question to start off with. So unlike traditional lead scoring, or let's call the OG lead scoring, which was often a mashup of engagement and fit signals jammed into one score, the engagement score focuses purely on activities. Think email opens, website visits, form fills, meetings booked, webinar registrations, and even custom events you might be using through integrations. It's a behavioral scoring, your signal to how engaged someone actually is. The old score, most of us just used one score field. And at the end of the day, it was really just a fit score. We were mostly using the properties on the contact, and we were kind of using that to create an engagement score sometimes, depending on your specific setup. But the results of this was you really had no idea if someone scored high because they were the right fit or just because they opened every email. The new engagement score lets you separate those signals. Think of it like this. The fit score is, should we actually talk to them? Are they the right ICP fit, the right company size, job title, things like that? The engagement score is, are they showing interest? Are they opening our emails? Are they visiting our website? Are they filling out important forms? And then that combined score will blend those together into a single score. However, I like to use a calculated score to combine them so that I can see them separately as well. Because the separation gives you clarity, especially for things like sales handoff. Because let's be real, a VP who hasn't opened an email in months probably shouldn't be your number one priority, even if they're an ICP fit, compared to someone that's also an ICP fit that's showing really good interest. Here's where this gets really useful. Imagine your sales team gets a list of 100 leads every week. Before, that list was just based on a score, unclear if that was behavioral based or fit based. Now you can prioritize hot leads based on recent engagement. You can route the high fit but cold leads into nurturing, and you can trigger alerts when that engagement changes. Engagement scores update in real time as activities happen, so you're not just waiting on batch processes like with the old tool. All right, so let's get into it. How do we actually use the engagement score? So once we're in the scoring app and we go to create a new score, this is going to be in Marketing Hub only right now. If you have Service Hub, you can do this based on the customer score as well. But let's just stick here for now for the demonstration. And we're going to create a new engagement score right here. Once we're in here, we can, as it says, start building the scores. And we can add event groups right here. So for this one, let's call this group our website visits, and we'll add our event criteria. In this case, we're going to say web events, and I'm going to say page visited. I can filter this right here. So I can say based on the URL, for example, or the page title. Often I might use the URL domain to see if they visited our main website versus a subdomain, or if you have like your in-app tracking in HubSpot too, you might want to clear that out as well. Often I find that I'm using URL path, and I'm saying contains sales, hand raise, I want to buy today. Whatever URLs might be important to you. Then I can add the scores right here, maybe 5. And this is where the new scoring is really, really cool. I know that a lot of people are not loving the new score, and I know that change is hard. But I think this engagement score is really cool for a few reasons. The first is this score every time field. So prior to the new lead scoring app, you were saying things in the scoring tool like if they visited our website 1 to 2 times, give them a score of 5. If they visited the website 3 to 5 times, give them a score of 10, and so on. Now we can choose to score every time. So every time someone visits my pricing page, for example, I can add 5 to their score. Or maybe I have a demo page. Even if I have an on-demand demo page, I can give them a score of 5. And that will just kind of add on. But I can also limit to. So let's be honest. If they visited our pricing page 100 times, do I really want their score to be 500? No. At some point, I need to cap that. I don't need every single person, especially if they're a bad contact fit, to get just blown up because they reloaded the pricing page that many times. So maybe for this, I want to max it at 25. So if they visit our pricing page 5 times, or if they visited our pricing page twice and our demo page 3 times, they'd get a score of 25. That's a really big boost, and it should be. They're showing really good interest in really good pages, but I don't necessarily want to overinflate their score. The other things I like, and you can see some of them down here as well, you can set these at a group level sometimes, or you can set them individually, add frequency. So I can, I can say if currently it's scoring them if they have visited the page at least once. However, I can also say I only want to score people if they visited twice or more. So maybe if they visit 0 to 1 time, I don't want to give them any points. But once they start visiting more, I can kind of add on to that. So you can get really nuanced in a way that you used to not be able to. Some of this, I will say, I think I avoid overcomplicating things, especially when you initially launch. But it depends on your use case. For example, the homepage, you might not want to score people for visiting the homepage once, but if they visit the homepage 3 times, 5 times, maybe then that's when you want to start scoring them. And we now have the flexibility to do that in a more dynamic way than the previous scoring properties gave us. You also have the options for time frame here. So you can say in the last certain amount of um, in the last 5 days. You can say they visited the website before January 1st, for example, or maybe after January 1st. So you only want to score people who visited the website after a certain page, after a certain time. And then, of course, in between. This might come up if you have a specific event page. You only want to score people who visited the page during your event or prior to your event, maybe. One of the bigger reasons I like the engagement score as well is this DK score. Prior to the new scoring app, I was kind of makeshifting this. I would say things like they visited our website at least twice, and one of those visits was in the last year, maybe the last month. However, that was really not great because if someone has visited our website 5 times 5 years ago, and then they just happened to land on our website once this year, then all of that scoring would get kind of flown back. They would suddenly light up. They would say, "Oh, they visited our website a ton," even though really they just, like, came to the website homepage once for 5 seconds, a couple days ago. Don't get me wrong, I think maybe you do still want to score them for visiting your website again, but you might not wanna give them a score for all those previous visits. That's where this DK score comes in. Personally, especially looking at engagement, I'm reducing most of my engagement scores 100% every month. I wanna see what activity they've done recently. Recency is so important right now. I mean, think about it. How many websites do you remember that you visited a year ago? If you filled out a form 6 months ago on a website and somebody reached out to you today, would you know what they were talking about or even why? Probably not. And that's why it's so important that we're following up with people based on their recency. And that's why this DK score is like very important. And I love this feature in the new scoring tool. I definitely recommend that you take advantage of the DK score. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with saying reduce 100% every month. Some of my accounts I'm doing a reduction of 50% every 6 months. So this will, in a year, reduce their entire score, but it will only reduce it by 50% in 6 months and then the other 50% in a year. So after a year, they won't get any points, but they will get points leading up to that. You might even in a month just reduce by 20 or 10. And you can do that as well, which gives you just a lot more control over that recency element. You can assign different weights to activities depending on what matters to your business. If someone downloaded a pricing guide, maybe you want to give them 20 points, but if they just visited your homepage, you might want to give them 1 point. You can also score on things like CTA clicks, your email engagement, although I do caution you with that one. Sometimes the email metrics are not as reliable. You can do based on workflow enrollments, form submissions, and ad interactions, in addition to the integrations that you may have as well. Then this is super important. Use that engagement score. Use this engagement score in your lead routing workflows, your nurture logic, your dashboards reporting, and your filtering for the sales team. Don't just score for scoring's sake. Use this to take action. All right, time for a quick recap. Engagement score is activity-based, real-time scoring. It separates behavior from fit, which makes your scoring system more transparent and flexible. You can start using it today in workflows, reporting, and prioritization logic. If you're transitioning off the old score before the August 31st sunset, make sure engagement scoring is part of your plan. If you have questions, drop them in the comments or shoot me a DM. I love nerding out over this stuff. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, or tag a teammate who might need to see this. Thank you for joining me for this Lead Scoring Monday. I'll see you soon.